in the context of Hinduism or in the context of our day-to-day living, are there any specific spiritual traditions or teachings that have been subject to scientific scrutiny, and what were the findings of those scientific scrutinies?
Okay, for me the question is a very broad canvas, and you mentioned about Hinduism or maybe other spiritual traditions like Jainism, Buddhism, and so many in the West and in the European cultures and all. So it's a wide canvas.
Of course.
But I don't think I am qualified to talk about other things. But definitely I can pick up this word Hinduism, which is a burning slogan today, which is connected to Sanatana Dharma. People have started talking all kinds of different things, what the Sanatana Dharma is not about. A lot of hidden agenda, it's going on. But don't expect me to answer from this perspective of Sanatana Dharma being Hinduism or spiritual tradition. I look at Hinduism now in this point of time as purely a spiritual tradition.
Right.
Since you use this word, I am saying this. So it's a spiritual tradition. Further to simplify, Hinduism is a way of life, way of living, way of thinking, which is universal. It's not bound by any religion or dogma or caste or color or cultural bias or geographical conditions. Our seers, our rishis, who are the, if I can permitted to use the word invented, who invented, or can we say discovered, the tenets of this Hinduism. The word Hindu geographically means something different, because that time today what you see India is not the same it used to be. They used to call it Akhanda Bharat, where today's Tibet was also part of India. Sindhu Valley was also part of India. I will not go into those details. But in the deeper Himalayan caves and cave monasteries, what our great yogis did, spending their whole lives as using meditation as a tool, using their body as a tool, experimented, discovered and invented so many things. That's what is our spiritual tradition. And Swami Rama quotes it as the Himalayan parampara, Himalayan tradition of Guru lineage, which is the most ancient. And today if you talk about any tradition available in the world, it is an offshoot, an expression of this ancient spiritual tradition called Himalayan tradition of the sages. So Hinduism practically at that point of time was the tradition of the rishis, Rishi Parampara. That's all it meant. And Swami Rama says the documented spiritual history is only 5,000 years old, because only after Shankaracharya, the great Hindu monk, came onto the scene and established these 4 mutts in 4 parts of India, north, south, east and west. Then the actual documentation of the spiritual traditions began through their writing of new books and texts and scriptures and all that, and the names of the Guru lineage and all that. But Swami Rama retreats backward and says you will have to add minimum another 5,000 years to this 5,000 documented spiritual tradition to make it 10,000, and it can be much more or many more years to be added, where our spiritual journey of the sages began. And the names that he quotes are the 4 rishis: Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, Sanat Suresha. These are the 4 rishis whom he addressed them as Manasa Putras of Brahma. Brahma, who is the creator of this universe, he just created these 4 sons. Manasaputra, because just by his thought.
Through his mind.
Now we talk about test tube babies. How limited our science is. How at infant stage our science is. And when you come to the epic Ramayana, there you find the source of the birth of Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, and these 4 sons of Dasharatha. How? Dasharatha, the king, was very anxious that he did not have sons and was going to happen to this Ayodhya kingdom. Then his Kulaguru comes and says, don't worry, I will do the yajna. Putra Kameshti Yaga. Putra Kameshti means you are desiring of a son or a progeny, and through this yaga I am going to
give it to you.
And the fire god is propitiated, and then he comes out of the yajna and gives a pot of payasa, a sweet dish, liquid one. And then sage says, okay, you distribute it among your 4 wives. But one queen, I will not go into the details, consumes 2 parts of that sweet dish. That's how the twins are born. Bharata and Shatrughna, and Rama, Lakshmana. So what else is it? When we talk about test tube babies, nothing was an impossibility to our sages. But Swami Rama says, unfortunately, the scriptures documented knowledge of these great 4 rishis who are the Manasa Putras of Brahma are lost in the history. But no worries, he says, based on these 4 compendiums called Samhita, Sanat Kumara Samhita, Sanaka Samhita, named after these rishis. These 4 Samhitas, though they are lost, before they got lost, so many rishis have studied those texts and written thousands and thousands of texts on the practices of these great truths which were contained in these 4 compendium. So they are all the reflections of what great spiritual knowledge, the attainment, what level our rishis had attained. It speaks volumes. This is how our spiritual traditions are connected. Even to this day, it is a Jagrata state of this knowledge, means they are very active, this knowledge, and very alive. And there are many sages, even to this day, in deep cave monasteries or just on their own, capable of retrieving those truths and teach to the deserving modern younger generations. So, sages are not a fantasy. Sages are not just superhuman. They were like us. They lived like us. But through their spiritual practices, they could attain which look superhuman.